Hey, Keynotes. Hey, Miss Tammy, how are you? Good to see you. Happy Friday. Hope all is well. I'm just waiting for Troi and Zoe to come on so we can do a real quick recap so that everybody can go ahead and enjoy the rest of their weekend. We had an amazing time on YouTube. Learned a lot from Zoe. Very, very proud of Troi and her mom for what they've been doing with her because she gave some very amazing insight, and I just love to hear and see young people who are evolving. So for her to be 10 years old, she unleashed a lot, and I'm like, oh no, I gotta get her on Instagram real quick so that parents can see what she has to and hear what she has to say. So I'm just waiting for them to come into the room. We have to make sure that we are training our children in the way that they should go. And of course, here he is now. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring you on right now. Hold on. How can I? Okay. I hope you got it. Okay, I'm just waiting for them to come on camera. You got it? There you guys are. Hey again.
Hey, hey.
Hey. All right. So really quick, I was just bragging on Zoe. Like I said, you guys missed a lot that she said on YouTube. You make sure you guys go on to YouTube to watch the
Oh, let me
replay.
be clear too, since y'all can see this now. This is iced tea. This is
Oh.
not wine.
Oh
Because
yeah.
they may be seeing me like, yeah,
This
my kid all the get in there and get something to eat. It's iced tea. It's not wine.
You know what? I can't.
And she was drinking watermelon juice. It was not anything crazy. You got to say that because they'll go by like, what is she drinking in that nice glass? You know.
Right. In front of the baby. On live on Instagram. Right.
Right.
So, those that don't know who I
Hey,
am.
Sabrina, how are you? Thank you so much.
Hey,
thank you.
Sabrina. Is it Sabrina? How do you pronounce it?
Is that a dollar sign like you want a Cash App? It's Cash App at Troi Rawlings. If you're trying to Cash App or something, I saw a dollar sign and it might have been a mistake. Oh, you trying to send them money? It's at Troi Rawlings for the college, for the 529 fund.
Okay, those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Shantany Langston. I'm your personal professional relationship coach. I'm also the creator of the Relationship Conference, and I'm the host of Candid Conversations. And tonight, we're on Candid Conversations on YouTube Live, talking about bullying is not okay in the classroom. By day, I am a teacher, an elementary school teacher. I teach first grade, and by night, I am a relationship coach. And so I thought it was very, very fitting to talk about bullying prevention before the school year gets started. And so Zoe already explained to us that she's already in her first week of school. I start in 2 weeks with my kiddos, and it's been and just keeping it real with you guys, it's been a really ghetto summer because we've been in trainings. I taught summer school, so I haven't really had a break. So I'm just excited again to talk to you all, and hopefully that tonight Zoe can give you guys some tips to help your children in the classroom, because I learn a lot being in the classroom with students. And tonight I did get some gems from Zoe. So I want you to just recap really quick, if you don't mind. I want you to talk about your experience with bullying, and I want you guys to hear her. Everything you said on YouTube about this part, I want you to express it, because, again, everybody lives in different areas, suburban, urban, so it's different. So I want you to tell people your experience and of bullying, and if you witnessed somebody being bullied, what did you do?
I've never been bullied before, but I did witness a kid at my school being bullied. It wasn't anything physical, thankfully. It was actually just like a talk and like, look at your clothes, why are you wearing that? Stuff that could really hurt a person. There's a lot of kids at my school that will be sarcastic with their friends, or like make little mean comments, and they'll make mean comments back just like as a funny thing. Um, but so I didn't really do much about it. I just walked by. It was during lunchtime, and I was like, probably the kids are just having fun because they want to get it all out now because they have to go back in class a little bit later. But then I looked back on it, and I was thinking about what the person looked like and their body language. They didn't look like they were having fun. They looked like they're very uncomfortable with the situation. So, yeah.
I hope you guys heard that. The key thing that she said was she saw that their body language was different. And so for her to be 10 years old and to acknowledge that, that's very insightful. She's very aware of her surroundings and also the needs of others. I think it's very important. If, even though you're not being bullied, but you can see someone else that's in a situation that feels bullied, it's very important. Tell your children, encourage that person, talk to them, say, hey, how are you doing, are you okay, did something offend you, and just encourage them along the way, because again, social and emotional needs need to be met, and it's important that we do tap in with one another. And I know we live in a selfish society today, but it's so much happening with our kids that we don't know, we're not aware. A lot of parents right now have this living their best life mentality, but your children are suffering from those social and emotional needs that are not being met. And I'm also aware that there are adult children who have not had their social and emotional needs met. And I will tell any parent out there, if you have an issue with your social and emotional needs, I highly recommend you go get some help. Seek a therapist, seek a mentor, or a trusted friend that you can pour some of that stuff out on them so you can heal, because it's important for you to heal so that you're able to be the best fit for your child. Very, very important. I always tell parents, stop neglecting yourself. Deal with that stuff so you're able to be able to manage your children's social emotional needs. So I know we have a few people that are still on with us. Tap in. I want you guys to comment. We have a few more minutes with Zoe. If you have something you want to ask or you want to elaborate and comment, you can. She's posing for a selfie. I saw that. But that was very powerful. Then there was something else that you said too when we were on YouTube. You said you can't be cool with people who don't want to be your friends. So I would tell, can you elaborate a little bit about that? I want you to elaborate.
Yeah, definitely. You can't be like friends with someone who doesn't want to be friends with you, because that's the worst thing in the world, to be like going along with the person that's been bullying for a long time, and then just to them for them just to switch real quick and be like talking or behind your back or just right to your face, just like, you know what, I don't think we should be friends anymore because of this, and I think this is really weird about you. And then it makes you regret all the things that you said about other people because now you don't have any friends. Like they're all gone. You just
got rid of everybody.
You got rid of everybody. You made everyone just go away. So you won't have any friends left. And when you grow up, you won't know anybody that you can like go back with. Like, oh, remember that time in school where we did this? And if you do, it will probably be of them like, you know what? We weren't really that cool back then. You know, you did a few things that weren't the best, in my opinion. And I think that's really important to just be aware of who your group is. Because, like, is your group the people who are, like, helping people being bullied, or, like, helping people who have been bullied, um, telling you the truth always, like, telling you, like, hey, you're a little mean back there. Maybe you should apologize to them.
Ooh,
Because
hold them accountable.
Because no real friends, nobody really tells you, like, if something bad happens. Like, no one will tell you, like, oh yeah, you did this, maybe you should have done that, it's kind of rude. No one will tell you that. And I think that's just human nature. it's not anybody's fault. It's just what they've been taught or what they just don't think like it's a big idea. Or they're just scared because you've been so rude that they don't even want to tell you anymore.
Mm.
But or is your group of friends, the people who are like picking on people, will encourage you to do something that's not the best idea. When you get in trouble, blame it on you or like anything like that, because that's, or it's a situation where you don't mean to be it, but you're just trying to fit in not to get bullied. That's called peer pressure. Not the best thing. Um, actually, there's like two types of peer pressure. There's the kind where like people are forcing you to do it, and another kind where like you just want to fit in and it's not like anyone's doing anything wrong.
Troi, she can hang out with me, okay?
Yay!
Because she is, I mean,
Well, we gotta go
beyond
to
her
Detroit because I think she's
years.
in Detroit. That's a whole nother. You're gonna learn a whole nother type of peer pressure. Detroit is not Burbank.
Oh Lord.
So we need to come because so we're gonna come.
Yes, because oh my goodness, I mean, she is spot on. She just said so much. Now, some of the stuff she didn't say on YouTube. She's saying right now. I hope you guys are catching this. I hope that you're allowing
That's why I'm
yourself
back
to
here
laugh
because
at
she
this.
has her own. The one thing I love about, I mean, one of the many things I love about Zoe, just as a person, is how articulate she is when and it's hard as a parent. Some people may be watching like, oh my God, 10 years old, what is she doing? Yo, it takes a lot of. We bump heads. We bump heads. Yeah, and her head is square. You see that big? You see that big square head? Oh, I'm sorry, baby. I mean, the
Let's
bullying.
talk about your head for a second.
Oh no.
Just to give you a reminder that you don't have any hair
I don't.
to cover up the stage.
Don't call your head a stage. The world is a stage. No,
Oh
no.
my God.
We bump heads about. This is something to parents. I tell my daughter something that some people may. Some people. I'm very old school in certain ways. I raise my child, but I don't. You know, I've been blessed. Her mom gave me a tip of having to go in the corner instead of spanking her. So even though she's 10, I'm like, yo, you're not too old to stand in the corner. No, so I ain't. I'm not.
And I'll be like, he's spanked me.
No, but one of the things I tell her is what? You don't get in trouble for what?
I don't get in trouble. My dad, the guy right over here with the bald head,
You pointing at?
he reminds me that you don't get in trouble for what you say. Well, sometimes you do, but it's more important to say like what's on your mind or what you're feeling. So you don't get in trouble for the things you don't say or do say, but the things you don't say. Because like some people can think it's a whole nother thing. Like one person, like in real life, like one person will think like, oh, this is just how they are, and then this other person might think you're being shady or rude, or just because you just don't want to talk to them. So there's a lot of things that can happen if you just don't say anything. Also, because it's good to get something off your chest, or just to tell a trusted adult or parent because it makes you feel like I have someone to lean on.
Right, right. It's a muscle. So if your kid doesn't learn how to work, and you know this in the therapeutic and the psychology area, if you don't, even as an adult, if you haven't worked the muscle, I've had a friend recently who told me something that they never told anybody for 40 years. And when she told me, I said, who else knows this? She said, you. And I could look at it and trace where the person was going through different things because you haven't opened your mouth and that's not silent. One time Zoe's mom was telling me something and Zoe was next to her mom like, I was like, Zoe, that's not sign language. Stop all the hands motions. She was like,
Go
she
into
she gets it honest. But a lot of times if a person hasn't learned to work the muscle of conversation and articulating themselves about themselves, I tell Zoe, especially as she's getting older, I don't want you to be in a position where people don't know what's going on with you and they assume that they can put it on you.
That's right.
Or they assume that they can, okay, this is what you meant. And you're like, what? I didn't mean that. Or you didn't say anything, so they said it for you. Don't let that be the case.
You don't want anyone talking for you, especially if it's to another person.
Right.
Or that person.
And she reads, and I don't want to, I never want to say about our kids that she's well read. She just likes to read a lot. So she knows what I mean. The other folks know what I mean. But because sometimes, oh, they're so well spoken. Nah, what do you think she was gonna say? You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
And I love reading. Yeah. And I think I like reading is my favorite subject in school because it's like I don't like, well, it's not like I don't like books that have pictures in them, but it's better to have them with no pictures at all because it gives you like a flavor of the mind. Like it's like, okay, Sally went to the store, she bought some cookies, she bought some cream. It's at a yellow brick house that was folded with tons of newspapers about old stuff and has the sun beaming on them just right. It makes you think about it in your mind like if I'm reading a page, like, give me a book. Give me a book, man. Give me a book. Give me a book. Go.
I'm allowing her to be great, you guys, because our kids have a voice. And I believe it's very important for our kids and students to talk. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So if I'm reading a book, and it says this again,
and for those that don't know, it's a book on Ethel Waters. Crystal Waters' aunt. Actually.
Hey, Tamika,
so I'm reading this.
So those of you that just came on, we are just doing a recap real quick on bullying. It's not okay in the schools. And so Zoe said a lot tonight on YouTube. Make sure you guys go to my YouTube channel to watch the replay and what the gems that she dropped on tonight. But go ahead, Zoe. Go ahead and explain what you were trying to explain before I cut you off.
So I was trying to explain how much I loved reading. Because I feel like that's a very peaceful subject in school. So that Friday evening, as a guest, you can see like the first.
I'm making sure because I don't know. I just grabbed the book. I don't know who wrote it.
Oh my gosh.
No. Is it really something or you just being dramatic? Oh yeah, it is something. Well, it's a book on Ethel Waters. What she was trying, you can make the point you were about to make.
Anyway, if I'm reading a book that has no picture.
It wasn't that deep, but it was.
I get what you're saying, though. Go ahead.
It wasn't that deep.
If I'm reading a book without any pictures, it makes me imagine the scenario. Like, if they're going to the store or if they're babysitting people. I love books that have, like, give you feel like you're really there. Because then you're imagining. There's a difference between reading and actually reading. Like, you could be reading a book and you could be, like, reading and my teacher talked about this too. My teacher, Mr. Hattie, talked about this too. Like, you could be reading a book, right? You're reading a book, and you're looking at all the words, and then the next thing you know, you're like on the 20th page, and you just started the book, and you're like,
it's a page turner.
Wait.
They call it a page turner.
I don't understand any of that. What did I just read? Because, like, you could just be looking at each word and not really understanding the story. And if you don't really understand the story, when you go back, you're like, oh, wait, this happened? I didn't even know. Because it's either you don't want to do it or you just catch yourself like, oh, do I really want to read this book? Because if you don't, like, really read the book, read the illustrations, look at all the description words and stuff like that, you're never going to really, like, feel the feelings of the book. It's just going to be a cardboard thing in your hand that you're just looking at. But there's a difference also between you reading a book and having it in your hand and really getting into it. So much so for me that I feel like I just watched a movie and I was like, what was that movie called again? Oh, wait, that was a book. And I think that's a really good feeling when you feel like you've accomplished something. Just the little things like making your bed or sweeping up the floor, reading a book, it can make you feel like really good inside because it makes you feel like I completed something and I felt great about it. So that's it for that.
Listen, this is a 10-year-old, okay? A 10-year-old, and she's productive. And I'm glad that you have an interest in reading because that is one of the things that I've told students in the past, especially those who are in high school. What's going to really help you in life is reading and comprehension. Those two things go hand in hand because the world will swallow you alive. if you cannot read or comprehend what's going on around you. And so, to wrap up a little bit of what you just said, you be so insightful because you want to be, and again, you have your upbringing around you. There are some young people who don't have that privilege, but we're here tonight. And those parents who are still watching us right now, you guys can pass along the same information that we're giving you right now, the insight. Your child doesn't have to be subjected to bullying anyone. And I said this on Instagram. I said a child is not a bully from birth.
Right.
They don't just be born and be like, I'm gonna throw someone in the I'm gonna throw someone in the dumpster today, and I'm gonna just take them by the bald head and throw them out the window. That's not what you do. You just don't think it like
she's talking about you, Troi.
Throw them out the window.
She's talking about you.
Throw them out.
No,
throw away the competition.
A child is not born a bully, but bullying is a learned behavior.
Yeah.
So just like anything
children, yeah, they're going to model whatever you're doing at home, whatever they're watching on TV, what you are allowed your children is going to be consumed of. So that's something that a lot of people don't understand, and that someone's going to they're going to feel or be affected by the consequences that you put out. So if you are going to bully someone, be very careful because you don't know how that person is going to retaliate. Just like when Troi, you mentioned about, this incident with your daughter and how you were ready to talk to the parent, like, wait, where the parent at? So I want you to share with people that story real quick. Hey, Prince.
I think it was like the second grade, and I went up to the school to pick up Zoe, and the aftercare teacher told me that some kids were doing something, and Zoe had told what was going on, and the one boy felt like he was in trouble, and he was like, who told? And it was like, Zoe. So he starts chasing Zoe, and Zoe hot-tailed, we used to call it hot-tailed, he chased her across the schoolyard back into the room where she told the teacher what was going on. I was like, who was chasing her? And he was like, oh, it was a boy named, and she told me who it was. And so the next day, he wasn't in their aftercare. He was in another aftercare, like boys and girls. So I went over there, and I was like, hey, so the little boy Dominic, I'm Zoe's dad, and is the boy Dominic here? But I was like, look, I'm her dad. Here's my number. When his parents come to pick him up or whatever it is, have him call me. And I didn't mean any ill intent. I just wanted to talk to the parents. Now, as a man, you don't know how that conversation is going to go, but it doesn't matter how it's going to go. No. But it doesn't matter how it's going to go. So the principal called me later, like that evening or the next day, and she said, yeah, I heard you dropped off your phone number and wanted the parents to contact. I said, yeah. And she said, we don't do that. We'll handle it. And I laughed, and I said, okay, as long as you guys handle it. But I said, I just thought then it messed with me a little bit, because back in the day, especially if a little boy was harassing a girl, the parents would get together and talk to the children, because they're children, and let them know, for one, you're a boy, and you don't abuse on a girl, you don't hit on a girl, you don't chase a girl like that, and have her in fear. And two, what happened, and talk everything out. And then the parents are coming together as a united front. I know that we're in a society and a time now where, Zoe's mom and I aren't together, but we're co-parenting. But if something happens with Zoe had to go to the ER the other day. She felt a little dizzy. She was sick. It was really basic, but because she was saying she was dizzy, we didn't want to take any chances. But the doctor said, oh, you got both of your parents here. He made a big deal about it. And we were like, but that's not really seen. And there probably was another reason. He was making a big deal about it.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Look at her.
But all that to say that I know everybody's situation is different. The father might not be at home. The mother might not be at home, this, that, and other. But as a conservative, if we really love our children as parents any school system, and you know this, any school system, Burbank has a great school system. Everybody always says it. But the reason it's so great is because the parents are always involved. So
I hope y'all hear that.
that's what the PTA is. That's what PTA helps the school function. You know, I said, I know I'm wealthy when it gets to the point where I can sit in the back of Zoe's classroom with my coffee or a wine glass of tea. This is tea. Let me say it again. And just kind of, I remember the parents who used to sit in the back of the classroom, and the kids' parents who were at the school, they did a bit better. And they weren't, you know, you had some of them that were extra nerdy, but some of them were just normal kids, and their father or mother was at the school like, calm down, don't embarrass me.
Yeah.
But they were involved. Parents were involved. And if there's a place where children are acting crazy, you said it dead on. It's indicative, and it's a reflection of what's going on at home. And one of Zoe's, like her preschool teacher years ago told me, she was like, you must hug Zoe a lot and kiss her a lot. Like, yeah, she was like, we can tell what's going on with a child by what they do in here. She was like, I can tell if a child is cussing in here, they hearing it at home.
Yes. Oh,
I'm acting
crazy on that.
in here, they getting it at home. You know, so it is, children are the biggest reflection of their environment. And, you know, so, and I like, but some of the stuff, I'll be honest with you, like, I feel good about letting Zoe talk, because I've had times where when I had my radio station and we did topics, and I just let her talk, and I'm sitting there like, okay, I guess we're just gonna close out the show now. You talked for 45 minutes and you killed it, you know, so that's who she is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's who she is. She's articulate, but like I said, she eats books now, so. Yes. And if she finds a book she really like, she goes to town on it.
For breakfast.
Right. And she's all, you know, she's just of that type of mind. So I appreciate that on her. But I also like the fact that she's such a consequential, and her comprehension is very dope. So.
Yes. And I totally appreciate it. And I hope that the other parents are listening in tonight, and that you taking some of this feedback with you. There's a few more things I want to leave with you guys before we close this out. Some of the bullying prevention that you can do. The number one thing, and as he just mentioned, she loves to read. Know your children's interests.
Yeah.
Find out what makes them happy. You know, take the time to do that, because again, I understand a lot of young parents out here want to live their best life, but right now, have some balance and get to know your children so that it can prevent that bullying behavior. Putting them in an extracurricular activity can boost a child's confidence. It helps them to make friends, and it actually protects them from becoming a bully. So if you take the time out to get to know your kids, check in with your kids, because like I mentioned earlier on YouTube, we talked about why is bullying behavior or awareness, is important, because number one, it prevents school shootings and suicide. Those are the two main things that happens because of bullying that has not been spoken. You have kids walking around upset for years. They get to high school and a bomb just go off because they have no channel to.
Then you read the letter later and find out they were being bullied.
That Timmy was bullied because of his hair.
Yeah. And he got a hit list. He done made a hit list who he gonna get back because he never channeled through that social emotional, those issues, because the parents never checked in with him or her. So it's very important that we do, like I said, have family meetings. I don't know what's wrong with the Black community why we cannot have family meetings in our home. Just checking in with each other, you know, having some type of bond, because there's so many broken homes, but the foundation is really, what do you want your home to be built on? Peace. It should be stability, balance, you know. And so I want to say that even though you guys are co-parenting, you're showing you guys are a great example of how you're raising Zoe. Just because she lives in two different households, you guys are running it two different ways, she's still coming out amazing. She's still doing her thing. She's learning from you all. You guys decide to be present. So I want to say to any parent out there, learn how to be present with your children, okay? Because they're not looking for you to be perfect. They just want you to be present.
They just want,
That's it.
Come on.
That's really it. Did anybody have any questions? You guys just been rocking with us for a minute. I had some people coming on and off here, but I know that we said some things tonight that really resonated with you all. I see Tammy, Nurse Tammy's on. I know you have some wisdom. You've raised your children, so if you have anything you want to say or put in the chat, feel free to do so before we go out of here. But I wanted to really make sure that you guys know your kids' hobbies, know their interests. You know, what's their favorite sport? What is their favorite, I would say genre of music? Do they like to dance? You know, do they like to roller skate? Do they like gymnastics? Put some boys in some football, something that's going to some type of aggression. Get some of that anger out. You know, put them on track, something.
Nina.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh.
Raise your hand. Go ahead. We on virtual.
Another thing that's the most important is to make sure that you're a good role model for your kids.
Yes.
Rather it's either being a good speaker or being a good kind person or empathy for other people, because everything you do, they're eventually going to pick up and think it's okay. Some of the stuff isn't as okay as you thought they were, or you're just thinking, oh, don't worry about it. But it can change into something like really serious.
That is so
like,
good. See,
teenagers or people who are like shooting up the school or whatever, their parents didn't stop them.
Right.
Their parents did do.
Oh, you're freezing up. You're good. You're good. You're good now.
But they did say like, oh, make sure you do this, don't do that, because, well, this can do a great effect on that person. They didn't say any of that. The guy was just like, I'm getting a gun and I'm shooting up the school. And the parents didn't even pay attention. And now we got 19 kids and 2 teachers who are not here anymore. It's something really serious that could happen if you're not a good role model for kids. Also, you always have to pay attention. What they're watching, what they're doing, what they're picking up from other people. Because I remember some days, like in first grade or kindergarten, I was a follower to my friend. And a lot of the stuff she would do, I would do. And my parents didn't really worry about like me being a follower, because I was really good at speaking and I wasn't much to worry about. But then I started following her around, and then something happened where it was really serious. But just make sure you're a good role model for your kids. Even if you don't know it, they're probably just listening to you right now being like, okay, they're doing this. All right then. Okay, Timmy, let's go.
Timmy. No offense to anybody got a Timmy out there who's like, what are you doing, Timmy? I'm like, oh no. No, but let me say this, and now because you know how we are. We, like you said before, if a friend, when you were in elementary school, a friend was being bullied, you jumped in and you making sure they wasn't gonna do nothing. And we come up with certain things. We go through. Don't put what you put in your mouth. Still, don't put that penny in your mouth and swallow penny. I'll be doing Heimlich on the. You know how kids put that penny down. So no. Yeah, stop. Still 10. Intelligent. We were at the laundromat, and a lady, and I could tell her, you can tell when people are off. The lady was a bit off, and I come back. We had like 15 minutes left on the machines. People hate when but there was no one there when we came. It was one other person. We came back, got our clothes, and this lady is like yelling and talking to this lady real loud across and the other thing. She's like, hey guy, and I'm taking my stuff out. Hey, and I just kind of look up. She's like, yeah, you. She's like, you. And I had an earpiece in. And I'm looking at her like, I can hear you. And I said, I can hear you. And she was like, hey, you were gone for like an hour. And I was like, no, I wasn't.
It's been 30 minutes.
It's been 30 minutes. I have 15 minutes left on the machine. I said, what? I said, man, what's your name? And she was, she was talking and looked away. I said, oh, and the lady next to her was like, oh, don't pay her no mind. I said, I deal with mental health and and stuff, and I'm used to dealing. So I'm talking to the lady next to her now, and I'm like, I know when somebody's off, and I was like, I asked her name, she's not even look, she's looking around and talking, she's not even looking.
You right there.
So the lady's like, oh, and I said, plus my daughter's here. I was like, I'm just washing clothes. It's a good day, you know, and Zoe goes, yes, yes, and I was like, what are you yesing about? And tell her what you said. No, you said it because it threw me.
I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube about like Karens and stuff.
It was the water. It was the water.
About Karens and stuff. And I'm just like, I want to be in that situation because like I just wanted to know. So I was like,
because
yes, I finally met a Karen. This whole time I was like, this will never happen to me, and it did.
So I took Zoe over. I said, Zoe, first off, the Karen situation I'm bad. So by this time we sitting down. It's kind of like Boomerang. Remember in Boomerang when Eddie Murphy was there, and the guy, he was like, that was just their, you know, their natural reaction. He was like, he just scared of black people. He was like, you know, you walk up and say, now, and the guy jumped. So this lady is like walking around, and she's like talking to it. But after this time, because I'm talking to the lady next to her, she just stops and she's not giving us any more attention. I said, Zoe, you mentioned something about the Karen situation. I said, those are not good situations. I said, attention is the drug of our time.
And my dad was like, why do you think that a Karen or a person would do the same thing and talk louder and more into this situation? How do you think that would happen? And I was like, because they're filming.
And that's the thing. The
people
attention.
want attention.
Right.
So attention is the biggest drug
and,
ever.
And the people, the same thing with an argument. And so the lady next to her comes over, and the lady next to her who didn't know her, she was like, she embarrassed me. I don't even know her like that. She was like, but your father was so poised. And I'm sitting there with Zoe. I was like, this is my daughter. I said, look, we're having a good day. I pay $1.75 to wash one load. I got 2 loads going. I got every bit of $3.50 worth of loads. Why am I going to argue about, and it's wash machines all around? I was like, we're having a good day. I said, but also that woman obviously is disturbed. Why would I argue with a person
who wants attention?
Not just wants attention, but she's disturbed. I said, when I asked you what's your name and she looked away, that means she wasn't talking to me. She was talking to the stuff going on in her head. Step away from that conversation. People, this is the biggest thing I can tell you. A lot of conversations you're having, some of y'all are getting in arguments with people that want the argument. They want
fuel to the fire.
They live in a place of argument. For people that have bullies, the bully needs the attention. The bully needs you to bully.
Because if you can't be bullied, then that makes them think. And I also said this to my dad. Like, she's probably not even thinking about the situation. She's probably not even thinking about the situation. Like, if I have an argument with my parent or with my guardian or with my peers or with my friends, I'm usually thinking about it afterwards, like, wait, what did I was thinking about the whole thing, whatever I could have said, what I didn't say, what I did say. But I looked at her face and I was like, she's probably not even thinking about the situation. There's like one thing where you're having a argument and when you're having a fake argument. You know, like when you're just saying something to make sure that the other person feels a type of way. Yeah,
and with her, you could tell some people are just troubled in their own spirits. Some people have their own turmoil going on. A lot of times, sometimes we see stuff and a kid shoots up a school or somebody does a mass shooting and it is indicative of their environment or stuff they've been through. Sometimes it's just their spirit. And we got to be mindful of that. It's just something that they're going through internally. And this woman was troubled internally. She was talking about, you know, she was like, I have a disability.
And
but you're walking around the corner to drop off. I don't even know if you have a car. You're just walking carts around. It was some stuff. But I had to tell the lady from Jersey was like, you were so cool. I was like, no, you assess this. Anybody if you have time to assess the situation, assess the situation. Plus, I told the lady, my daughter was here watching. And I'm just not coming off that, what I'm supposed to yell at that woman.
It doesn't make sense.
Plus, I'm a 6'2", 235-pound black man. This woman was a Caucasian lady, looked a little older. Well, I don't know how old she was, but looked a little older, short. If anything went down,
yeah, you would probably win.
Right? No, not just win, but it don't look like that. If the authorities come, they looking like they almost want to say to me, but like, why would you do that, man? So
But it's like it's more of adding fuel to the fire because like if you don't want to make it more than it is, because then it's just like dumb. Like 1 minute you'll be talking about like with your siblings or whatever, 1 minute you'll be talking about like how you did do something right, and then you'll move on to the garbage, and then you move on to why did you do that with my hair, or then you move on to a situation that happened years or months ago or centuries ago or eternity ago, and when you're in heaven, like, man, why would you do that? Why would you do that, man? You're like, we're not down there anymore. We can't talk about it now. Cause then they'll be like,
you just touched on something again. Wisdom beyond your years. People say that about me, that I have so much wisdom, but I'm looking at Zoe. I'm listening to what you're saying. I hope that some of the adults that watch this tonight actually implement some of this into their own life with their own friends, because you said something earlier. You said, watch who's in your circle. Are they bullying people? Do they, throw shade, or are they petty? Because there are some petty people who claim to be saved, but I'm not going to go into that. But people hold on to grudges. People will hold on to a grudge for a long time and not say anything and never heal. But guess what? When you don't do that, you also bring that same energy into a new relationship, or you hinder yourself from getting into a divine relationship because of unforgiveness and holding grudges that don't make sense. Going back to what you said, you hold on these grudges until you get to heaven, and God bro, you can't bring it, bro.
Why would you do that?
You got an angel tab and you should let it go.
Let it, it's gone.
Bring that up.
It's gone. I forgot why you came. So yeah, I truly appreciate you all tonight. Modeling good behavior is very important, especially for teachers in the classroom. Those who are still watching, the whole purpose of this particular conversation is to help parents understand that when you help us, we have a better experience with your child in the classroom, and they have a better academic experience, and it cuts down a lot of that interference, that drama. We don't need drama in the classroom. We don't want you to have drama at home. But if you talk to your children and let them know that you are there for them and you want to hear them out, if there's something going on, that you are there for them. And of course, I'm always here. Teachers everywhere, we are here for parents. We advocate for parents and for students to have a better relationship when it comes to communication. Talk to your kids. We don't want to hear about no more shootings. We tired of trainings on CPI, FBI, CIA. We are so tired of security things we got to do because you're not doing your part at home with your children. We got to do everything to your children that as it is. But if you can do the small things, like you said earlier, Zoe, the little simple things you can do. Making sure your kids are involved in something that's positive. Speaking life into your kids. And like I said earlier, I get it. Like some parents didn't have the things we have today growing up. Some of y'all want to be your kid's friend. Y'all can't do that. You had them. They didn't have you. We can't be your kid's friend in the classroom. And I tell the kids all the time, I am not your friend. I am your teacher. This is my house. And I let them know. I love you, but I need you to do X, Y, and Z. We're going to have a great time, an amazing school year. But I really believe that this conversation, we got to have it again because parents need to know how they can do a little small step can change somebody's life, your kid's life, and the life of the other kid in the classroom. So
it can change the world.
Yeah, you're right.
She about to go into She's in Ringo Starr's music video, "Change the World." I was like, you're not about to sing on.
I gotta have
Let's
her.
change the world.
Oh, look at her, already ready. Listen. So those of you that just came on, we're talking about bullying is not
What's up, D
okay
Nice?
in the classroom, and so
D
we're
Nice
just
just stopped in.
hey, we're just doing a recap of the conversation we had on YouTube. So if you missed the conversation, go to YouTube to watch the recap because Zoe dropped some bombs, some major.
And we'll share we'll share this too.
She dropped some major insights.
We'll share this live too.
Okay, all right. So you want me to save it? That's what you're saying. You want me to
Yes.
save it? Okay.
You're supposed to save the live. What are you doing?
No. I don't save the lives because it's on YouTube. Everything's on YouTube. I have enough on here as it is, so I'm just trying to get the audience to go to YouTube.
Well, save it. Just save it long enough for me to copy it, then you can erase it.
Okay, I'll save it. But this was an amazing conversation, and I definitely want people to hear what Zoe had to say. I believe our children have a voice. Give them an opportunity to speak. That will help them build their confidence along the way. So like I said, I am a teacher by day, and I love what I do. And I had to make sure I talked about this because the school year is here, and I want to make sure I do my part as a teacher to bring some light about this conversation. But I'm going to bring Troi back and his daughter, and I'm going to have my mentee. She's 12. She's in middle school now. I may have to bring her on too. And she talked about her experience being a bully, okay? Because she was in first grade as a bully. And I cannot wait to have her on because she's like, oh my gosh, what in the world did I do as a kid? Like, you're still a kid, but it's okay. But it was amazing just to see her reaction of what she did to someone. So I think it was great to see that. And now she's older. Now she knows how she should be. So I'm excited again, like I said, to have you guys on. It was a pleasure meeting you finally, Zoe. I'm so glad I did. She can definitely rock with me. Like, she got to come to Michigan and just hang out with me. All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to go. Any final words before I wrap up?
You want to close out with anything? Tell the people?
Definitely. The people. I like that. Definitely. Make sure you're a good role model to any kids, if you have any, or just people in general. Anyone younger than you, because that can be a big effect on a person. Especially don't hold grudges, and just try to be who you are. Try to find your right group. Because you'll be looking up at heaven and be like, Martin, why are you here? I'm supposed to be here. Why are you here? That's what I want to know.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. Make sure you talk and have conversations with your kids. Even if you're co-parenting, one of the best things you could do is do a weekly check-in, especially if your kids are still in school. Do a weekly check-in with the other parent, especially if you split time between the kids. Some of y'all split weeks. Some of y'all split 2 weeks, a month, summertime. Do a check-in. Try to do a weekly check-in. And if you guys are in good terms, have a conversation. It doesn't have to be that long. It can be a 30-minute conversation. It can be a 20-minute conversation.
10 minutes, 15. Just make it a conversation. Please.
What she said.
Please.
And because y'all get on the same accord, and then also the child leans into what they can do. And children have to be chameleons, even in 2-parent households, because parents operate differently. My father was cool, and he sleep all day, and I learned later on he was depressed. But my mother, light sleeper and the disciplinarian. So what I could get away with my father, I couldn't get away with my mother. But if they weren't on one accord, I could get away with more.
But they started talking.
But when they was talking, and they come to the room, oh yeah, we was talking about you. You was playing outside. So you told your mother. And they sitting in the bed together looking at me like this. I'm like, but it also helps the child know that they covered. You know what I'm saying? So
like, oh, you too. Then the dad's like, I don't tell you.
Right, I can't help you, Shirley.
I'm sorry, man. It
You
just
on your
came
own this
out.
time,
We were
right?
having a good conversation with both lanes.
Yeah, so make sure you communicate, and definitely me and Zoe talk a lot because I want to hear.
A lot.
Yeah, I want to hear what she's thinking, and it gets on our nerves sometimes. But then when she does stuff like this, it makes sense.
Oh
And
yeah.
she doesn't know. You know, it's just like being an athlete or being a musician. All the rehearsal is harder than the sport. The practice is harder than the sport. So we talk so much, and you can see her, and you're like, oh my God, she's just because we have conversations ever since she was younger, and she reads. She reads more than me.
Read more than you. Read it more than you.
Uh-oh.
I haven't read a 560-page book. She has.
Uh-oh.
It was
Okay,
like
brother Stain today. Wow. But that's amazing. Like I said, you guys are definitely role models in making co-parenting make sense. So,
Yeah.
like I said, no, students or kids are not looking for you to be perfect. They just want you to be present. That's it.
That's it.
So,
Not perfect, just present.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Present.
All right.
That's a good shirt. Don't be mad if you see that on humantshirt.com. Not perfect, just present. I'm gonna give you props. I'm gonna sign your name to it.
Okay, yeah, you better do that. I'm gonna say, wait a minute, hold up, because that's actually one of my quotes. But
Oh, you better put it on a t-shirt, girl. If you put it on a t-shirt, I'm a fatherhood, not perfect but present.
oh, okay, I see.
Put it on there. Put it on it.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you all for coming on. I know it's actually later here in Michigan. You guys it's getting a little late there, so I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go. Thank you all so much for coming on. Y'all came in kind of late.
Save it long enough for me to save it.
Yes,
so I can share it.
Yes, I will. I will. You guys missed the replay of YouTube. Make sure you guys go to YouTube to watch the replay on why bullying is not okay in the classroom. And make sure you save the date for September 9th. We're talking about the qualities of a woman. You don't want to miss out on who I'm going to have for that. And of course, Sweetest Day weekend. If you're in Michigan or in the Great Lakes area, you know about Sweetest Day. We'll have 2 men on talking about the qualities of a man. So you definitely want to make sure you tap in with us in September. Again, guys, thank you all so much. She is so silly. I cannot. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Y'all have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Y'all be blessed. Nice to meet you again, Zoe. Bye, Troy. I'll talk to y'all later.
Thanks so much. See you later.